Oh, shh. I think we put the wrong one on. You know that? We'll start this again, shall we? That's where I said, oh, shoot, I recorded instead of playing. But anyway, let's start this again. Rolling. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining our program once again on Elaine's Extreme Paranormal channel. Excuse our original intro. Instead of hitting the play button to play our intro music, I hit record, and I said, oh, shoot, I hit the wrong button, and I cut it off quick. But anyway, you heard it. Who cares? We have a very special show today. It's entitled Sensitives in Families. We're featuring Kat Ward and Patricia LeBlanc. Hi, gals. How are you? Welcome again to our program.
Hey. Hi. Thank you for having me. It's really fun to be here.
Thanks again, Elaine.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. Would you like to say a little bit about yourselves? Get the show rolling for our viewers?
Go ahead, Pat.
It'll be fun. I know it will.
Well, I'm Kat's younger cousin. Some days it's good, some days it's not. Haha. But mostly it's good. So I'm an author, coach, master energy healer, teacher. So that's basically what I am in a nutshell. So it's your turn, cousin.
I'm Kat, Patricia's cousin. And when I was living in Ontario, I was a paranormal investigator. Moved to Alberta about a year ago. Haven't investigated yet, but I have other projects on the go, and have a Facebook page called Paranormal Heart. So if anyone's interested, come on over. We'd love to have you in our family. And yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, and that family is growing too, isn't it?
Yeah, my two kids I now have teenagers in the house.
No, I mean your Paranormal Heart family.
The paranormal. I thought you meant the kids. Yes, we are.
Hopefully they are too, yes.
I think we have like 194 members now in Paranormal Heart.
Well, that's good.
We're small, but
that's good.
We have good people there.
Well, that's what counts, for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, our topic being sensitives and families. You're both cousins, and you're both gifted sensitives. So how did you both first realize that you had that particular gift?
For me, I think it's something I've known early on. I think the whole family is. Some of them don't admit it or don't realize it, I think. But my mom was always really sensitive. She was always able to talk to her grandfather without using words. They didn't even have to be in the same building, and she thought that was normal. So growing up just with weird things happening, my mom never made me feel like it was an odd thing or, no, you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. It was just something that was natural. Like, we would have conversations, and I'd be watching TV with my parents, and Mom would go, "Oh, did you?" And I'd say, "Yep." And my dad would look at me and say, "What? What did you do?" And we could just communicate that way all the time. It was really annoying for my father, but
Well,
he
that's
never
good,
really
though,
believed in that. He never really believed in that sort of stuff until we started having coincidences. You know, my dreams would come true, and I'd tell them about it, and after a few times, my dad's, well, maybe there is something to it. You get feelings about people that are usually right.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I always knew it, but it wasn't like Kat because it was more like me, more got suppressed out of me. Plus I was an introverted child, so it wasn't something that I was openly. And then when I started doing energy healing, that's when I really start realizing that I was very sensitive and I was an empath, so I would take on everybody's energy. And
yes.
It's only when I learned how to be able to control that, and it took me years to be able to find my own way of controlling that I was able to not take on other people's energy. But until you're able to learn to master it your own way. I mean, I used to go in, like old Montreal, I used to go in buildings and I'd have to leave because I get these massive headaches. Because imagine old Montreal, the energy that was out there, it was sometimes like, oh my God. And then when I was able to master it, now I'm able to go back. But it makes a huge difference when you're sensitive and you take on other people's energy.
It does for sure. I know myself being an empath that I have to shield and ground every day, or I'm just overwhelmed with an awful lot of the things going on around me. So I know what you're saying.
When we moved to Alberta last year, I didn't want to move here at first. I wanted to go back to the Maritimes, and as soon as we got here, I felt so grounded. There's just something about here, and we're very fortunate that the piece of property that we have for being right in town, we have a lot of trees in our backyard, and that's probably and lots of birds, and it just helps me feel so much more grounded and happy. I'm really glad that we moved here actually now.
That's great.
But I find nature will help to ground you because I have like I live not far from the Canal de la Chine, and I go walk there a lot because I'm near water, and I won't walk on the actual sidewalks. I'll walk in the grass so that I
Hmm.
can really take the groundness because it makes a difference when you're near nature or go to like Mount Royal. Because where I live on a well, Montreal, there's a lot of main streets. But I find I gravitate towards nature and it helps to ground me because if not, after a while, I get out of my energy field, gets all out of whack and it drains me. So yeah, so I can see how you would like where you live, especially if you have trees and you have nature because it helps to ground you and it helps
Hmm.
to realign yourself. So it makes a big difference.
It does. I know I love nature. I love the sound of running water, that is provided it's not indoors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do love the sound of a fountain and battling brooks, that kind of a thing. I love being out in the garden. It's just a feeling all entirely of its own.
I'm not a big garden person. I have a black thumb of death. Plants shiver when they see me coming. My husband has the green thumb, so he always has planted. He's always given me a really nice garden wherever we live. But yeah, I just look at them and they go, no, don't look at us. I don't have luck with plants. Animals, that's different, but plants, no.
I guess I know who to
Oh,
come see you if ever I need a garden. Jim.
Not me. Well, there was
I
one
love
time.
gardening.
Well, there was one time I saw this really cool cactus. It was kind of, I don't know what kind of, but it was kind of shaped like a fan. And I thought, oh, that would be great for my husband's office. So I picked it up. It was over at Walmart. Took a picture of it, sent it to my husband. He goes, yeah, that's really cool. By the time I got to the cache, it was starting to wilt. And I thought, oh, maybe I just didn't notice it was wilting when I picked it up. By the time I got home, it was starting to liquefy. My husband looks at it and says, is that the same plant that you sent me a picture of? I'm like, yeah, it is. He goes, what the hell happened? I'm like, I don't know. I just carried it to the cache to the car. Like,
Wow.
it died. So then next time when I found
Gee,
another one and bought it, I looked at my daughter. I'm like, I'm not touching it. You bring it to the cache. You can carry it home. It was the oddest thing. It just wilted.
that's really strange.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Patricia, what about you? When you first realized you had the gift, you said you didn't talk about it very much,
My gift
but were
got
you allowed to more or less let it grow with you?
I actually, as a child, my gifts got suppressed out of me. Uh,
Okay.
so, and I mean, it was quite the journey. And even once I start rediscovering, like when I moved to Montreal, moved here to become a massage therapist. And because of massage therapy, I discovered Reiki. And that's because when I used to massage, I intuitively, without even having to speak to my clients, would know where they needed the most pressure and what, like, where to massage, where everything was, without even talking to them. So I obviously knew I had
Mhm.
like healing hands, but then when I started learning Reiki, that's when I start discovering, wait a minute, I mean I have all these gifts, but because they were suppressed out of me as a child, it made a huge difference. But it was still a battle for me once I realized it because it was like, okay, especially I used to be very analytical. So when you're very left brain, trying to figure out you have these gifts, it could be quite the struggle. And I mean, I struggled for it for I think up until the end of 2014. So when I really, I mean, I didn't hide it, but I didn't come out publicly with it. But it can be a struggle, especially when you're not in an environment where it can just be open. Plus,
Exactly.
I was always
I
different anyway, so that didn't help. But and I was a little
right.
introverted child, which my inner circle is very very tiny. Likely, I grew out of that quite a bit, but still, it makes a huge difference when you're an introvert with these gifts, or if you don't have, you're not surrounded with the right people who can encourage it. It makes a big difference.
I'm sure it does. I shouldn't say I'm sure. I know it does because I know when I was a child, um, we were in the era that you didn't talk about it. You kept quiet about it if you felt you had those gifts or anything. And I always felt very, very strange as a kid. Small circle of friends, that kind of a thing. And I'll be 68 this month, so I didn't really accept it until I was 65. I wish I had accepted it earlier.
I used to talk about it with my friends as a kid, and everyone, they still think I'm weird, but they used to always think I was a weird kid, which I was,
I
because
wonder why.
my my interests were always different than everybody else's. But oh yeah, even now my friends will say, "Yeah, you're still weird. It's good to see." Like, and
Yeah,
tell my friends like, "Yeah, last night I had this dream." You know, it was usually about accidents like plane crashes. Um, and it was really weird. There was one night in particular that I woke up, told my parents detailed encounters of this like plane crash that I had. You know, that plane hit this bridge, landed in the water. You know, got into more detail. And then the next night, wasn't it on the 5 o'clock news? My parents and I just kind of stopped, and I'm like, yeah, that's the dream that I had. They actually made a movie about it. I think it happened in Florida. I can't remember, but they actually made a movie about it years later. Yeah, that's when my dad used to think, well, because I used to sleep with the radio on when I was little just to have the noise. And my dad thought, oh, you heard about it on the radio. Well, at the time, it hadn't even happened yet. So when I started giving him details,
Precognition.
yeah,
Sounds like you
um,
had an episode of precognition that something was going to happen. Yeah.
it used to
Amazing.
always happen about plane crashes. Just never anything good. It was always crashes, but it never freaked me out. I never woke up saying, you know, screaming or anything like that. It's just like, oh, another dream.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would tell my friends that, and they'd kind of look at me like I had two heads. I'm like, what? You guys don't have dreams like that? I'm like, no.
see, me was the reverse. Me, I had dreams like that, but then it scared the shit out of me, so I just suppressed it.
Hmm.
So it's funny how you allowed it and I suppressed it.
Yeah, I'd have the dream, and it's like, I don't know why it didn't scare me. It's kind of
Yeah,
strange.
it is amazing. There's a lot of people that really will terrify. But I
Yeah,
guess you were just meant to be accepting of it, and you have the gift, and you've made use of it.
hmm.
That's great.
Like ghost hunting, it doesn't faze me. People scare me. I startle easily. I turn around if somebody's standing there, it's like, ah. But looking for ghosts, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I find it interesting too with ghost investigation. Like anything in the paranormal like that, it doesn't seem to faze me either. I can just walk into a place and start going on an investigation with full confidence the good Lord's there and He's going to watch over and protect us. So, yeah,
Hmm.
that's great. It's a good feeling to have.
Hmm.
So, gals, what else on the sensitives and families? Any of your relatives that you know of that were sensitives in past generations?
I remember my mother saying something about a grandfather, but I can't quite remember so long ago. Um, that he knew about if somebody in the family was going to die or if they're going to be, they would know if they were pregnant in the family even before they knew and what they were going to have and, you know, things like that. So, yeah, it does run in the family. I just don't think that
Yeah,
a lot of people talked about it a lot because back in the day, you didn't talk about that stuff.
no,
Well,
that's right.
Dad was able to talk because when a few of our family members passed away, Dad knew. When Pépé Melançon, the
Yeah.
night that he passed away, I got into a fight with that because I didn't want, because he was at the palliative care, and at that point, I didn't want to see him at that. I don't handle that very well, and
Hmm.
that's no secret.
Hmm.
And we fought, and he's like, "No, you need to go see him because he's dying tonight." And not
Wow.
long after I went to go see him, he passed away. So
Hmm.
I mean, dad always knew. There's quite a few in the family. He knew before he got the phone call or whatever, okay, this person's passing away. So it is. There's quite a few. And dad used to say, I don't know. I think it was a great grandmother or something that she had the healing gifts, like the healing
Yeah.
hands, like I have. So, because I used to say, Dad, what side do I get it from? Because my mom's sister is a Reiki master.
Oh,
But
no way.
yeah, but I only found out after I became a Reiki master, so it's hilarious. And Dad goes, "No, those gifts that you have, it's more on my side of our side of the family than on my mom." So yeah,
Neat.
there is quite a few, but I think quite a few of them suppress their gifts, which is
Yep.
quite
Mhm.
common, sadly, especially when you have these gifts. Um, I mean, me, I now I'm open with it. Like, I talk with angels, I communicate with angels. I mean, I do like higher. I can go connect even with dead people depending on if I have but that's really rare. I have to be really in my zone.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know it goes in the family because Dad keeps mentioning, and like I said, Dad knows when somebody's gonna pass away, like just as it happens or right before he knows.
Yep. And I think
Mhm.
from
My mother,
where we have
I'm
such a large,
sorry.
go ahead,
That's
where
okay, go ahead.
we have such a large family. Like my mom was from a family of 13 kids, really hardcore Roman Catholic, French Roman Catholic. So, growing up like that, you just didn't admit stuff like that because it was such a big taboo to talk about.
Exactly. I know when we were kids, that was just something that you couldn't talk about because it was not accepted. And again, as you say, with the church, they tend to like. I'm not Roman Catholic. I'm a Baptist. I was raised Presbyterian, but no, you didn't talk about that kind of a thing because it was classed as sinful. And yet, I don't know. I just can't see how it can be sinful if it's a God-given gift.
Mm.
People are afraid to use it, but I honestly can't see that it's sinful myself, especially if you're using it in a helpful way.
For me, I've had a couple of incidences where it actually saved my life. I remember when I was pregnant with my oldest, and I lived 2 hours away, and I had gone home. I was on my way back to where I was living. I just went home, and I'm about half an hour away from going back to my house, and it's a winding road, and I'm speeding because I want to hurry up. I'm pregnant. I need to go. So all of a sudden, I had this vision of this transport truck and us colliding. So I thought, okay, because there was a car in front of me going 30 on a 60 road. So I thought, okay, you're going way too slow. So I decided after I saw that flash, I thought, okay. So I backed off, um, decided to go as slow as the other person in front of me, and we go around the bend. Transport truck comes around, and there's trees along the way, so you can't see what's coming in the other traffic or the other lane. So I thought, holy Hannah, had I not listened to that flash that I just had, I probably wouldn't be here. Um, it was kind of scary, kind of neat at the same time. There was another time where I'm driving with my friends and back home, and I'm driving on a mountain road back in the Maritimes, and all of a sudden I just jam on the brakes, and my friends are looking at me going, "What are you doing?" I could have sworn I saw a guy cross the street. He had a white T-shirt, jeans, white sneakers, walking his bike across the four-lane traffic. And they're like, "There's nobody there." I'm like, "Yeah, I can see that now." So again, I go around the bend. There's this guy with the same description that I just told my friends about, walking his bike across the street, and all my friends are looking at me. So if I hadn't I stopped, I probably would have hit him. So, you know,
Wow.
you get flashes like that.
Yeah.
Well, same thing for me walking in Toronto one time after work. I'm walking on one of the main street, and this was a bad area, which I never told mom because, mom would be freaking out. And not even a minute after I passed by, somebody got murdered.
No way.
But
I
something
didn't
was
know that.
just something was just telling me, and I've had that happen more than once in Montreal and Toronto. But it's also when I'm walking, start getting this if bad feeling, and I just call on Archangel Michael, please come and protect me. And then I look at the news next day. Holy shit, that happened a few minutes after, not even a few minutes after I walked through, walk right through it, and it happened more than once in Montreal or Toronto. So when I get that feeling, I just call on on Michael especially, and then yeah, and then I'm safe. But I mean, imagine a minute or two later. I mean, if
Yep.
I would not be protected in that whole little bubbly, I could have got murdered myself. So I mean, it just knowing we all have our own ways of detecting stuff. Like you're able to see, I just get a feeling.
Mm.
I'm not able to see what it is, but I just get that feeling. And then yeah, and it happened quite a few times, more times than I can count. But I remember that time I was like, holy, like he got murdered like guns, and it was like quite a few shots, and
Wow.
I never heard anything.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So it makes
Scary.
quite a difference when when you have
I
that
mainly,
happen to you.
I mainly get feelings now. I don't see like I used to. I call it my spidey senses. They're tingling.
Yeah, it's odd how those things can happen. And
Mm.
I know one time when I was a child, I was so darn sick that, well, I had a real bad cold, and it felt like it was going to pneumonia, to be honest with you. And Mom and Dad were going to take me the next day to the doctor. And so anyway, during the night, it was the weirdest darn sensation, but I just felt like I was all congested, feeling rotten. All of a sudden, I could feel these hands, like just like fingertips, from the
Mm.
top from the tops of my toes and just running right up my body and right up to the top of my head. And next morning when I woke up, I felt fine. Everything, it was all gone. I was 100%. So I'm still not
Were
sure
you at
whether that
home
was
or
a
in the
beneficial
hospital?
ghost or whether an angel. Pardon me?
Where were you at the time? Were you at your house or in the hospital?
I was at home in bed. I was in the haunted house where I grew up, and there we had a beneficial spirit and we also had a demonic one. And I
Oh,
wasn't sure at the
Wow.
time, and I still don't know to this day whether it was an angel that healed me or whether it was our beneficial spirit that was there.
hmm.
That's really interesting.
Hmm.
When I was little, we used to live in this three-story apartment building. We lived on the top floor, and it was a really, really old building. And I used to wake up screaming sometimes. Just my closet was creepy. It was a big walk-in closet. Always hated my closet. But next to my bedroom door, there was another door that led to the back stairs. And I used to always see this little short man with a hat and like a trench coat. He used to scare the bejesus out of me every time. And my parents used to always tell me, "Oh, you're just dreaming, just dreaming." But I used to always see him um, in my room. And then when we moved from the apartment, never saw him again. And I always wondered, I wonder what that was. And then recently, the past couple of years, I've been starting to hear about, how you see people are talking about seeing tall men with a hat and a long coat. And apparently there's shorter ones too. And apparently the tall ones are not so nice, and the short ones are supposed to be the good ones that protect you. So I don't know. I always wondered. Like I said, after we moved away from the apartment, never saw him again.
Strange. So you mean like shadow people? The taller ones are supposed to be the bad guys and the shorter ones the good guys?
That's what I understand. Yeah, that's what
Really?
from what I've been reading and what other people have been telling me. Because I hear a lot about the tall people with the hats. But this one wasn't just a shadow. I could actually see him. I couldn't see his face though, because the hat was it was almost like an old Dick Tracy hat, and a trench coat. But he was a really short guy,
Interesting.
and I always wondered, who the heck was that?
So what about
And
you,
I think
Patricia?
that
Any
apartment,
other?
I think that apartment building is it's no longer there. So not
Yeah,
like we can go back to visit. Can
no,
we go visit?
they tore it down long ago.
Yeah, I know. Well, growing up, I don't think so, but I know when I go in places, I'm able to sense that there's bad energy in a place.
Yep.
I know in my place once I was doing an energy healing session on one of my friends who does energy work. And at one point we felt something just like bang on the windows. And it's like they were trying to open the windows
Hmm.
to just get out because we were doing powerful energy healing. And
Hmm.
and she's like, "Did you try to open the door?" The window. I'm like, "No, my window's closed. It's the winter time." But we've had that happen.
Hmm.
But a lot of times when I go in places, I'm able to sense that there's bad energy. Like I don't really see, but I just sense. I just know.
Yep.
And what I'll do is like my place where I am right now. Well, now I sage it every night, so it's not that bad. But at one point, I had to sage it like 2 or 3 times a day just to clear
Wow.
the energy. And my old place in Toronto, I used to have to sage every day.
Hmm.
If I go one day without saging, I would get this bad, I don't know, it was just a bad feeling that I would get. But I mean, I lived in really old houses too, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're more prone to having them than new places. But
Hmm.
I've never really seen anything. I think once I saw something and it really scared me. So I think that's why now I'm not able to see. I just feel them.
Hmm.
Because it's less scary when you're able to just feel them than to see them. But it all depends, I guess, on if we're meant to see them or not.
Yep. I remember when we used to live in that house on Boulevard Road, Patricia. Um, we used to have this cat. She'd be sound asleep in the hall, and all of a sudden she'd wake up and she'd do le gros dos. They do like the cats, when they're all the hair goes up, and would freak out. My mom and I were like, "What's going on?" And she would do that quite frequently. Or in the nighttime, I'd hear people walking in the hall, and so we knew something was in the house because it was a very, very old house. And my parents did renovations, of course. And then one afternoon, I got fed up, and when my parents were at work, I just loudly said, "You're not welcome here anymore. You need to leave. You're not, you're not, you're not to stay. Go away." And it stopped. And I thought, wow, that's kind of neat. I guess it
I
listened.
I have power. Let me go.
Yeah. Even my mom mentioned it. It's like, oh yeah, the cat doesn't freak out anymore. It's like, yeah, I got rid of it. She goes, oh, you did? What'd you do? I said, I told it wasn't welcome. It needed to leave. She goes, okay.
But quite a few times, it's all you need to do is just tell them they're not welcome, or just send them to the light.
Yeah.
'Cause I know one of the courses I took, we did that type of work, and yeah, we were just sending it to the light and just picturing to the light, and then it would go. That never really resonated with me, but I guess now I know who to come see if I have something like that. Cat, I'm gonna take care of this for you because I don't want, that's not what I like to do. But yeah, no, it's funny how just saying it, poof, it's
Yeah.
gone.
And you got to mean it too.
Yeah, of course, because if you're too nice, oh, can you go away?
Or if you're unsure, like you got to be firm, almost like a parent telling your child, like, you're misbehaving and I'm not accepting that. Doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you need to bring in bigger guns, but
I don't know. I don't have teenagers, so
you don't have what? Sorry.
I don't have teenagers.
Oh, yeah, I have teenagers. Nothing frightens me anymore.
And plus, if you grew up where there's ghosts, you're not gonna, and you were able to accept it and not be afraid as a child, you're not gonna be afraid now.
No, I don't know why it never frightened me. I have no idea.
Because it's
I
one
was
of your gifts.
terrified when I was a kid.
Were you?
Terrified of it, yeah. But
Does
then
it
as
run
I
in your
became an
family?
adult, I became more accustomed to it, and I got more intrigued in wanting to investigate. So
Yeah, me too.
it's
Yeah.
I guess.
Does it run in your family too, Elaine?
Yes, it does.
Hmm.
My mother was psychic, and she also was a reader. So was my grandmother.
Hmm.
So yes, it's amazing how it does run in families like that.
Yep.
Well, most families, I think, have at least one person who's able to have these gifts. I know, well, like in ours, obviously there's more than one because Kat does paranormal activities, and I'm a master energy healer, so I work a lot more with energy. So obviously, like we have more than one person, and like say, I know your mom had gifts. Dad, like say, he's able to tell when people are going to pass away, people who he's close to.
Yep.
And like that was saying, like even for me, my healing hands. Because at one point, I'm like, well, where do I get these gifts from? Because, like I said, I didn't. When I took Reiki level 1, he wanted to teach me Reiki master level right there on the spot. I'm like,
No
no, I'm
way.
gonna wait 21 days. Yeah, because intuitively, it's one of my gifts, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, no, no, I gotta wait 21 days, do level 2, and then like I'll do it step by step. He's like, no, no, I'll do it all right now. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it step by step. But yeah, it's funny how there's quite a few of us. But I know there's more than just me and you and our parents. There's it's just probably most of them have suppressed it, or
Yeah.
They won't talk about it.
Or they think it's
Uh,
crazy.
well, I don't care. I mean, when I first came out, I was talking with angels. Quite a few people were like, eh. Even my mother a little bit was like, what? I'm like, what? It's one of my gifts.
Amazing,
And I'm
Patricia,
like,
but
Mom, if they go read my bios, all my certifications, it's not going to be a surprise to anybody. I mean, I'm a Reiki master. I have all these titles. They're not
yeah,
going to be surprised. I'm like, I'm just publicly coming out with it now. Uh, but I still find you still have to be careful until you totally accept it to who you talk about to, because if you're on the fence, and because I mean, I taught a few kids who are 13, 12, 13, like healing with the angels and Reiki. But I tell them, be careful, because they're at a critical age, be careful who you tell it to, because if you tell it to the wrong person, that could suppress your gifts. You have to be careful on who you share it with. But once you fully accept it, then you really don't care who knows about it, because you're like, whatever, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, well, too bad.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. You don't just you just don't do that because sometimes I don't know. It's never happened, but I have heard of some people losing their jobs because they, you know, tell the wrong person.
Yeah, they think you're crazy.
Yeah,
And, nothing to base it on, but just because you happen to believe in it and they don't, they think you're crazy, and you do stand
yeah,
in danger of losing your job in a lot of cases.
yeah.
See, I was very lucky because one of my bosses was a Reiki master, and she kept saying, "Can you teach me Reiki? I'll teach you outside of work. I'm not gonna get fired because I'm teaching you at work, like you know." But she kept bugging me. But I mean, and when I worked in Toronto, they already knew it because I mean they check out my LinkedIn and then they would be able to see I had all these gifts. But you still have to be somewhat careful, especially if you're in a corporate world. I mean, and I worked in investments and finance, which it's very conservative still. So, but I probably just happen to have boss who are a little bit more open-minded. But I have heard of people who lost their jobs, or so you
Yeah.
have to be kind of careful and see how willing are you. I mean, doesn't mean you have to hide it, shut it out on top of a big mouth and say, "Hey, this is my gift." Kind of have to see, depending on your situation, how publicly can you get, especially if you're working in a corporate role. You don't want to lose your job just because of this.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not fair that you should either. It's
No,
really
I agree
totally
because
unfair.
I agree, Elaine, because I'm all about being true to yourself. So, in order to be true to
Yes.
yourself, you need to be able to be honest and be able to say, "This is who I am." Your gifts and whatever. We all have our gifts. It's just sadly most people either suppress it because they got scared, something happened, they saw something and it scared the shit out of them, or it just wasn't encouraged as a child growing up, or you had a parent who doesn't understand that you have a child's got this gift,
Yeah,
or a whole variety of things. So yeah, no, I totally agree. You should not have to hide it, but sadly, there's still people out there who needs to hide that side of them.
mm,
True. Well, look at in the olden days, I mean, when they had the witch hunts and everything else, good grief.
yeah,
If you had any of the abilities that we have nowadays, and if they dared say anything about them, well, gee, you'd be burned at the stake. So
yeah.
I guess
I would have been dead a long time
oh,
ago.
I would have been dead a long time ago as
Oh,
well.
yeah, me too. Yeah,
But I know in past lives that I got killed because of my gifts. So I mean, it's all, yeah. At least now I'm able to be open about it, and I don't have to hide that side out of me. But yeah, years ago, you had to hide that side, because if the wrong person found out, you were dead.
mm,
And they would torture you. They didn't just kill you easy like that. I mean, you get burnt or you get hanged or whatever. So yeah, at least luckily, I always say I'm grateful I live in Canada, because if I was born in certain countries, I probably would have got killed by now.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Even today in some countries, yeah,
No, I can't understand why. Do you see the dark shadow to the left of my
I
head
do.
there?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
can't figure out what's causing it because I have light on right over here. I've got light on both sides, and it's getting darker and darker.
That's
There's a
weird. Go
there's a
away.
there's some sort of paranormal activity or something who wants to join us.
I think so. If you want to join, you get your own screen.
Your own damn show.
Yeah.
I was
my
told
own
lotto
show.
numbers.
That's
But
very odd.
You
no,
weren't
well,
invited. Go away.
Oh, now
oh,
it's
now
gone
they're
again.
gone. See,
Oh.
Kat just have to tell them to go away and they leave.
I mean, you're welcome to appear, but come on the screen like everyone else, okay? Thanks.
But like
Maybe
I
it was
said,
Ebenezer.
maybe.
But Ebenezer's not evil, so I don't think he would come as a black shadow. But that's very strange.
That is
But,
strange.
but it's on the camera sometimes. It could be.
Like, whoa, what's that?
Heaven only
And
knows.
Kat told him to go away, and he went away. So now we know who to contact if ever we need somebody to go away. Kat,
I guess so.
because I need somebody to go away. Can you just tell him to go away for me?
Yeah.
I wish that worked
It's
with some
funny
people.
because I didn't feel frightened by
No,
that shadow. I
No.
didn't feel frightened at all. I just felt there was something trying to come in.
Yeah, but me, it works for people. I can tell people to go away subconsciously, and they go away. I
yeah,
just release them without having to do anything. There's only twice I had to tell the person why I needed them out of my life. Because they just didn't take it. No, I'm very positive. No, you're not. Like, you're ego-based and you're a victim. I can't be around you.
yeah.
But yeah, most times, except those 2 times, it's always worked. I don't have to say anything. They just go away without me saying anything. So
Actually, yeah, now that you mention that, yeah, I've been very fortunate that negative people don't stay around me very long.
And you have a way of picking up on the negativity, don't you? Because
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
they can.
Yeah. I remember when I was pregnant with my oldest, and there was a place in Fredericton, New Brunswick. It's a museum, and my husband and I went. I was really out, I can't remember how far along I was. I was waddling, so I was pretty up there. And there's this one room. It's called the Shadow Room. They would have a curtain, and then you could play around with various lights and have different shapes and sizes of shadows. Thought it was really fun. Well, I walk in and I stop. I'm like, okay. Go in again. My husband's in there already. He's like, well, what are you waiting for? Come on in. I'm like, I can't go in. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I physically can't go into the room. I have no idea why. So it's like, okay, well, you just go in. So then, of course, being very pregnant again, I needed to use a washroom. So I go into one of the washrooms, and I felt really, really depressed, sorrow, like no hope, which was really weird. And as soon as I left, it was fine. And my husband looks at me and goes, what's wrong? So I explained to him how I felt. I said, that was really weird. As soon as I entered the washroom, and he goes, turn around. I'm like, what do you mean turn around? He says, turn around. So I turned around and looked. I didn't know that the building used to be an old jail, and the washrooms used to be old jail cells.
Oh, wow.
You had one of the like the doors with the bars was open, and then you had like a regular door that they put in. But I had no idea. I just thought it was an old museum, right? But no, it used to be a jail. And the Shadow Room apparently used to be the office of the head guy. I can't remember what they're called.
The warden?
Yes, the warden. Thank you. Used to be the warden's office. And then, like I said, the washroom was really, really weird feeling. And so once we had the baby, we went back again, and I went close to the Shadow Room again, and I looked at my husband and said, here, you take her, see if she reacts. And I said, I'm just going to stay behind, because if she sees that I'm reacting, maybe she will too. I said, you just go in with her. And as he approaches, oh, your shadow's back, go away.
Yes, I see that. Right
No
over my
peeking.
head.
now they're moving.
Yeah. So he walks in, and she starts to scream and cry and freak out, and he's like, okay then. So I guess she didn't like that room either.
Strange, eh? All right, whoever you are, stop playing around. That's enough. Leave.
Don't make me go there. Go away.
Whoa.
Oh, now it's getting more.
That's weird.
It was very weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very weird. It's the first time I've had that happen on the air, too, you know.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
looks like there's a square, but then
Well,
there's like shadows.
The square
Yeah.
behind me is actually the picture that's on the
Okay.
backdrop. But that black
But then you get the
misty
black.
thing around me. Very strange indeed.
Oh, well, here. So, what? Can you tell us your name? So when you listen to this, when you watch this after it's been recorded and go back and watch it, maybe we'll actually hear some audio.
You never know. Are you Ebenezer?
Oh,
It's gone now.
shy.
Excuse me.
We've acknowledged camera shy.
Oh, on camera! Oh my God!
Maybe he was Ebenezer.
My door opened again, just like the first, our first episode, eh,
Yeah.
Elaine?
Oh
The
my
ghost
God.
coming in.
This is Sam. Say hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Okay, enough love. There. Yeah, we have a ghost. We have a ghost in the house too. So when we first moved in, I had a feeling that there was somebody in this house, and I actually had. I told my husband. I said, "Yeah, there's the past owner's husband is here because she was a widow, and the owner." I just had this vision that there was a tall, slim man with slicked back white hair, clean shaven, wearing a gray suit. And after a few nights of being here, I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking, oh, I wonder when you're going to show yourself to me. And in my bedroom, I have a closet, and above the closet, I have two cupboards, and they click shut. So after I thought that, I heard, and I looked up, and one of the cupboards had opened up. I wasn't freaked out. I just smiled and said, hello. So I went over, closed the cupboard, and then my kids would say, you know, why were you up last night? I'm like, I wasn't up. I thought you guys were up. We'd hear somebody walking in the hall, and the thermostat, somebody would always turn the heat on. And it's like, seriously, unless you go pay the hydro, you have to stop this.
Well,
So
there
the kids would always hear somebody in the middle of the night walking up the hall, you know, and they thought it was me, and I thought it was one of them. I sleep with my bedroom door open, and I don't sleep very well, so as soon as I hear something, I'm awake. And I knew it wasn't kids, but I figured, well, who else could it possibly be? So after a while, I'm like, okay, enough is enough. You really have to stop tampering with my heat because you're going to really cost me a fortune here. And it stopped, and we haven't heard footsteps in the hall ever since.
Wow. Amazing. And you never did find out who the person actually was, or?
No, I went next door one time. The neighbor invited me over for coffee, a nice old couple, and had coffee. And I didn't tell her what I do, why I'm asking, but I said, oh, so what did the owners that used to own the house look like? The wife is still alive. She's in a home now, but her husband passed away a few years ago. And she says, oh yeah, they were really nice. He was tall and slim and had white hair. And I'm thinking, and she's going on and giving me descriptions of how I saw our ghost in the house. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really neat. Inside, I'm going, oh my God, she just confirmed what I thought he looked like. So I come home and went up to my husband and I said, oh my God, you'll never guess. I said, I got confirmation of what our ghost looks like. It was the past owner's husband.
Well, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah.
That's really something, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have fun when I come up. We'll have to bring the ghost back out.
I think your ghost just came in there again. I saw the door move.
Yeah. Cats. You know, cats, they don't like to be on the wrong side of a closed door.
No. But I'm going to try something just for the heck of it.
Yep.
Regarding that shadow that was over here. Ebenezer, if that was you, why don't you come in front of the camera again for a minute, please? You want to do that? Or say something?
Give us the winning lotto numbers, something.
Well, give that to us privately, so then that way there were three of us winning, not.
Well, there you go.
If I win big, I'll
We'd
share with
have to share it.
Well, if I win big, I'll share with you too.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we all
Same here.
we all go buy a ticket, and that way there.
Yep. Yep. If I win, I'll take you out for coffee. to France. Wouldn't that be neat?
I'll bring you guys to Las Vegas.
That'd be cool.
Go to the casino. Yeah.
We'll go see Celine Dion.
I don't really gamble. I was in Vegas not long ago, and I didn't really gamble that much. I mean, you leave the airport, you go, and there's like slots machine at the airport. I was like,
No way.
yeah. I was like, only in Vegas
I'd
will
be a
you see slot
little,
machines in the airports.
I'd
Was
be a little
Celine
leery of
involved?
that too, you know. You'd wonder if you're gambling if the plane's going to successfully land or not. You know?
Well, as long as it lands before you go on. But yeah, no,
Oh,
they have
good grief.
gambling machines. But I thought that was hilarious.
Did you get to see Celine Dion, or was she there?
No, I was there for speaking, so I had 3 packed
Yeah.
days. But the Wednesday we went on the strip, which was nice. I've never seen a place so clean.
Really?
They keep the place really clean. Even the hotels that are like lower class, they're all kept very clean.
Nice.
So, and during the morning, there's almost no one because they're all sleeping hangover. The afternoon, there's not that many, but then nighttime, there's a lot more. So a lot of people will stay at the beach or their pool and just they have to recuperate from the next day.
For more partying.
For more partying, yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing how, like you say, these things that happen in families and how you can tell in advance when something's going to happen or someone's going to pass away. I know my mom used to have that. And she sometimes would get these strong, strong smells of flowers, like mixed flowers that you would often smell at a funeral home. And then she would know someone was going to pass on, and sure as shooting, we'd get notified that day that someone had passed.
Something that I find really interesting too is people who are sensitive. Because every time I meet someone who's sensitive, I always ask them, do you get headaches, especially related to the weather? And so far, everyone that I've encountered who are sensitive get weather-related headaches. So I'm just wondering if there's, because with the weather, obviously it's a change in the barometric pressure. So I'm just wondering if it's the same thing with being sensitive, if you're just really, really in tune with subtle changes around you.
It's quite
I'm going to
possible.
clarify, and I'm going to go further and say yes, because like you, I get migraines due to the pressure.
Yep.
And that's something that I can't control. And like you, I'm very sensitive. But everybody that I know also who has get headaches due to the pressure of the atmosphere, every single one of them that I know are very sensitive people. They may not show it that they're sensitive, but they're very sensitive. So I would say yes, because when you're sensitive, you're able to feel and sense everything.
Yep.
And we may not think that you do, but you do. So that explains also why, sadly for us, we get the migraines. Because I mean, I don't get body aches. I get migraines, and when I get my full blown migraines, I can be in bed for 2-3 days. Like it knocks me out completely.
Yeah, I get headaches, but not migraine. But I also get the body aches as though I've been run over by a Mack truck or something. And 9 times out of 10, if there's the weather change or something like that, yeah, it'll pick up.
My husband always calls me his human barometer.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely believe there's a correlation between being sensitive to the barometric pressure and people just that are sensitive.
Is that how one of my
but say again?
Because I had one of my friends that used to say, I'm sensitive and I don't have, and I was like, no, you come from the ego, you can't feel. Maybe if you come from the heart, maybe then you're sensitive, but when you're coming from the ego, you definitely can't feel anything. So that's why you're not going to get like the headaches and all that. So because this was somebody who actually was a lot from the ego. So when you're coming from the ego, you can't feel anything. So but for some people, that's the way to protect themselves. Because if they can't
that's
feel,
one question. That's one question I was wanting to ask you. Sorry.
Patricia,
that was one question that I wanted to ask you. Do you ever have someone come up to you and say that they're sensitive, but you know they're not?
No, I don't think I have. I get people coming up to me out of the blue telling me their stories.
Oh, yes. That's typical empath,
Not,
it seems. Yeah.
not even looking at them, or I could be in the crankiest of moods and I don't want anybody around me, and people come up to me and say, hi, I'm like, hi, and then they just start telling me stuff, and I'm just like, okay. I always listen.
Yeah, their life story, their life history, everything.
Yep.
But sometimes it's interesting when you have people come up to you like that, total strangers, and they start talking. They've known you for years. Someone moving a mic.
Someone moving your mic?
It sounded like someone was moving their microphone or something. I could hear some crackling in the background.
Ebenezer again.
Well, Ebenezer didn't show up this other time, so maybe he's angry with me because I said to go away and stop playing around. But I'm sorry, Ebenezer. I didn't mean it that way, but you know what I meant. So, no, usually Ebenezer and I are on very good terms. So.
Like I said, get your own damn show.
Yeah. He said, well, you want to call it extreme paranormal, so let's put some paranormal into it. So I guess he did. So any other events that you've had happen that pertain to sensitivity in families?
Oh, I know there's countless, but I just can't think of any right now. You, Patricia?
Yeah, you'll...
Did we lose Patricia?
Can't hear you.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. Well, I've always known I was very sensitive because I would take on other people's energy, and I know there are certain people that I never wanted to be around them, and that didn't matter. So it, but I mean, I have so many different times. Like I said, when I used to go to networking in Old Montreal, and I had this guy who used to keep inviting me to try to connect me with people, and I would walk in, and then I would get these bad migraines because the energy, or I felt like I was being suffocated. And I wasn't even fully in. I always had to leave. At one point, I had to tell him. And he's like, I keep inviting you. And I'm like, look, invite me in a new place. I probably won't feel because I walk in, I feel like I'm being choked. And he's like, you're an empath. You're very sensitive. I'm like, yes, I am. And I need to find a way to be able to control those energies. Now I'm so glad that I am able to control it because when you're sensitive, you take on other people's energy unless you know how to protect yourself. And now I just ask Archangel Michael just to protect me in a nice light purple bubble. And then those energies, I no longer take them on. They just bounce back off automatically without me having to do anything. But it took me years to be able to get to that point.
Yeah, well, it was actually... I'm sorry, were you going to say something there, Kat?
What was it? Sounded like sliding across the roof there again.
It did. It sounded weird, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Sounds like somebody's typing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, what the heck was I going to say? Oh, yeah, actually, okay, you've probably seen her on this show as well, Sergeant Lawrence. And it was her who taught me how to do the shielding and grounding.
Yep.
And I do that every day now, and it really does help a lot.
And I found when I was able to learn how to start grounding myself and shield, I was actually able to start releasing more weight. Because when I wasn't able to ground myself, I would hold on to the weight. Because you're balance, you get out of balance. So now I'm able to just release weight so much more quicker, and I don't hold on to it unless I have my stomach problems. That's the only time that I hold on to weight. But before I used to, and that was one way to protecting myself from the energy. But that was just for me personally.
Yeah, and everyone has to develop their own unique style too, don't they?
Yes, and that's why I wish there was one way of doing it, but unfortunately we're all so unique, so we have to find what works. You have to experiment until you find something that works for you. And once you find what works for you, keep it. Don't try to reinvent until you find something else. But once you find what works, just keep it, yeah.
I remember growing up, I never used to like crowds. I just like crowded situations. I'd get all agitated and I just didn't like crowd. I didn't like people touching me. I just like stay away. And it took me a long, long time to figure out, well, don't remember, somebody had mentioned this to me, and they said, picture white light around you. So now, whenever I feel that way in crowds, I just think shields up, white light around me, push the white light out, and I'm fine. It took me a long time to figure out how to do that, though.
And we grew up in a big family, because same thing with me. I didn't like being in crowds. So I always used to be the one going in my own little corner and be like watching
Me too. Yeah.
everybody else. And it was like, okay. And after a point, because I mean, they were all loud. And I mean, you come from a big family like that, they had to speak louder to be heard. So it was like, and I was just like, okay, can you guys all like quiet down or just shut up? Like, because I couldn't take the noise. I couldn't take, and I mean, they're all lovely people, don't get me wrong, but it's just for me, I couldn't handle that. I remember more being more on the outside looking in. And
Yeah.
sometimes thinking like, okay, how come I don't fit in? Like, I don't fit in because I'm just not, I couldn't take the crowds. Even now, I have to protect myself when I'm in big crowds. Because if not, I'm gonna get panic attack. I just can't. But yeah, I remember at some family events, I used to be like, okay, just find a little corner, and I just wanted to watch because everybody was loud. There was, and we come from a huge family, like Kat was saying, there were 13 siblings, and we have I don't know how many cousins on top of it, and then now some of them have like kids and whatever. So I mean, when the whole family got together, you were a little introverted impact. You didn't feel like you fit in. I mean, now I do because I've learned to get my own voice, but for years I just felt I was more on the outside looking in.
For a small
Yeah.
family get together, it was nothing to have 20, 30 people. And that's not the entire family. So, when you get all the brothers and sisters and their spouses and kids and so many people. I had a blast, though.
I'll bet.
Especially if we used to have these family corn boils. My grandfather's brother had this piece of property. I don't know if you remember those, Patricia, the corn
Oh my
boils?
God, yes.
Yeah. And we'd go out to, he'd have a cottage where they had an outhouse and they had a pump inside for water. So we'd have a big corn boil, we'd have salads, barbecue, and
Oh, that sounds like fun.
cooking. We'd play horseshoes, and then we'd have baseball team because it was my grandfather and his brother, and then all their families. So we would have, God, 60 people, I want to say.
At least, yeah, because I mean they're all big families, so.
I really miss the corn boils. I still tell Muriel every once in a while when we chat on Facebook that had very fun memories growing up with all the corn boils that her father used to have, and get the families together. It was a lot of fun.
It would be, especially if you can grow your own corn too. It has such a flavor all its own, doesn't it?
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure they did grow their own.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because they were in Memory Cook, so Memory Cook they would have had the land to be able to do that.
Yep.
As if us we were in right smack in the city, so we wouldn't have had. Mind you, we had a backyard, but my mom didn't do a garden. If we wanted a garden, we used to go at my grandparents on my mom's side because they always had they had 10 acres of land, so because they were in Dieppe, but they were still like on the outskirts. I mean, now last time I went there, it's all houses. My friend has a house on where used to be my grandfather's land. When I told her that, she goes, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, I used to play here in the backyard because we used to go play in the land." But yeah, it makes a difference when you have that.
The house that I was talking about where the cat used to freak out. Now there's a road through there. They tore down the house a few years ago.
Yep.
The apartment building that I grew up in, we had a marsh in the backyard, and we used to go in the wintertime with the neighborhood kids and play hockey. We'd get our skates just in our backyard. Well, then years ago they filled that in and built Sobeys and big grocery store, and that's all filled in now. So it's changed a lot.
Yeah, I used to
It's
pick
such a
blueberries
shame.
going to school, and now it's houses. The community college. I remember when I was in school, I'm like, I used to play here, and they were looking at me like, no, you didn't. And the teacher was like, yeah, this used to be just woods.
Yeah.
And where Mignon I used to have his house, we used to play in those woods also because they were all woods. Now it's all houses. So, but I find it made a huge difference when you're in nature because it allows you to just recenter and ground yourself. And that's why I try to go for walks like on the Lachine Canal at least a few times a week so I can just And I don't bring my cell phone with me anymore. I just go there and I disconnect totally, and it helps. Because
How
when
can you
you're
not
always,
bring your cell phone?
pardon me,
How can you not bring your cell phone?
I've had to learn to disconnect because I did a major burnout last year for I don't know how often I've done at least 4 or 5. And I find that when you disconnect totally, your energy, you're able to recharge your energy faster and you're more productive. Like now I work 40 hours a week. I get more done in 40 hours than when I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week.
Wow.
Because I'm able to disconnect, right? So when you're start back work, so yeah, it's all about controlling your energy because when you're sensitive and all that, we take on everything, right? And when you're always on a laptop or a cell phone, you have all the electronic that come in and zap your energy, so you just disconnect. Same thing with you when you didn't have your cell phone for like a week. That was hilarious.
Yeah, when my cell died, I started to get the nervous twitches. After a while, I was fine. But
Oh,
I
you
come
guys.
downstairs and tell my husband, "Can I have the computer now?" He's like, "Junkie." Yes. That was only a week.
That's like me with my new tablet. I got a new tablet only about a week and a half or so ago through TELUS. And when I first got it, I thought, okay, now how am I supposed to get this little card in? What the heck? Not a smart card, but
The SD card?
anyway. No, not an SD, but it's the card that you use to set it up
A
for your
SIM
phone
card?
service.
A SIM
Sorry?
card. A SIM
Yes,
card.
SIM card. That's right. Thank you. Well, I've looked at the thing and I thought, okay, now how am I supposed to get it in there? The darn thing is sealed. So anyway, I was able to go online with it, and it worked great. And I thought, oh, well, fantastic. I don't care if they get the SIM card in or not now. Well, then it quit going online for me, and I was having 40 fits, and yet I still had the computer right there. But no, the new gadget didn't want to work, and I was not happy till I could get that working again. So I know what you mean. When you lose something like that, it's like you lose your right arm.
Yep.
Why the silence?
Yes.
Everything just went dead all of a sudden.
All I'm hearing is the typing. It sounds like
You're
somebody's
still
just
hearing typing noises, are you?
Yes.
Really?
And it's not me, because see?
No, I'm just sitting here,
Yeah, I'm
yapping
not
away.
either. You know what I should have done when I went silent? Just why can't we hear her?
Oh, you
She
would.
lost her voice.
Oh, such cruelty. Well, you know, gals, that a whole hour and 3 minutes has gone by.
Really?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Goes by fast when
Amazing.
you're having fun.
It
Sure
does.
does. Yeah.
So, anything else you'd care to add before we close the show, or?
No, I'm still waiting for those winning lotto numbers. If anybody wants to share.
I will. I'm open to receiving the winning lotto numbers. Please send them our way.
I too am open to receiving those winning lotto numbers.
Oh, heavens, yes. Same here.
I'll just,
Then I will
Patricia
come
and
and
just show
visit
up,
Kat.
yeah, Patricia and I will just show up on your doorstep one day, Elaine.
That's okay.
Well, make sure there's no storms, because we'll both get migraines.
Oh, gee. That'd be all you'd need, for sure. Well, all right, then. We'll sign off then, and thank you so very much for coming on the show again.
Thank you very
It's a
much,
pleasure
Elaine.
having you, and
Thank
we'd
you
love
for
to have
having us. It
you.
was a pleasure.
Thank you.
A lot
So
of
you
fun.
take care. Yeah, it was. I'm sorry for the delay, but as you know, weather can do tricks on you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So
Nature.
you two have a great remainder of the weekend. Thanks
You
again.
too.
Thank you,
Salut.
too.
All right.
Bonjour, Simone.
Take care now.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was our special show, Sensitives and Families, featuring Kat Ward and Patricia LeBlanc. Thank you so much, and do come again. Have a great week.